The Detroit morning arrives the way it always does in summer. Too quickly. The sky going from dark to bleached white before the city has had time to prepare for it. The air along East Jefferson smells of the river and old concrete and the faintly chemical sweetness that comes off the car wash soap when Jerome mixes the concentrate too strong. Which he always does, because the concentrate is cheaper when you use it aggressively, and Jerome has been running this operation on thin margins for 11 years. The 4 bays of Sparkle King Car Wash are not beautiful. They are functional and honest in the way that things are honest when they have never been designed to impress anyone. Marcus Cole arrives at 7:14, 12 minutes before his shift starts. Because he learned early that arriving before your shift gives you time to look at the day before the day starts looking at you. He is 16 years old, lean in the way that teenagers from families without enough money are lean. Not from exercise, but from the math of not having enough. His hands are already rough. He fills his bucket from the hose, checks the soap ratio by how the foam breaks across the surface of the water, ties his apron twice because the knot Jerome showed him slips, and takes his position in Bay 2. In those 3 weeks, he has developed what he thinks of as a field study. A systematic observation of the people who come through the wash every day, cataloged in a ruled notebook he keeps in his apron pocket. He has determined that late-model sedans driven by women tip the best, average 63 cents above the base rate. SUVs tip second best. Sports cars, driven almost exclusively by men who feel the car is doing the work of making an impression, tip worst by a margin that Marcus finds philosophically interesting. My father used to say, the only thing standing between a poor man and a rich man is information. Rich people know things poor people don't. That's the whole secret. Not talent, not connections, not luck mostly. Information. And the reason poor people don't have it isn't because it's hidden. The black Cadillac Escalade pulls in at 10:15. Marcus reads it before it stops. 2003 model. Custom rims. No scratches anywhere on the body, which means the owner is someone who pays attention to the things they own. The windows are tinted to the legal limit. Marcus steps forward with his bucket before the driver's window has started moving. He is halfway through the pre-wash wipe down, methodical, overlapping circles on the hood the way Jerome taught him, covering maximum surface with minimum strokes. When the window drops and Ray Hartwell looks out at him. Ray Hartwell is 53 years old and has the face of a man who made a decision a long time ago about what kind of person he was going to be. A Patek Philippe watch worn face down on the left wrist, which Marcus will later understand is deliberate. He studies Marcus the way you study a balance sheet. You started before I rolled the window down. You pulled into a car wash. I assumed you wanted the car washed. Most boys your age wait to be told. Most boys my age aren't paying attention. Ray watches him complete the hood. There is a quality in the boy's movements that is difficult to name. It is not efficiency exactly, though it is efficient. It is more like intentionality. Every stroke means something. Nothing is wasted. Ray reaches into the center console and takes out his Wall Street Journal, folded to the markets page, and holds it out the window without saying anything. Marcus glances at it without touching it. He reads for 8-9 seconds, actually reads, not scans. Ford's down 2%, which isn't news. It's the continuation of a trend that started in 2002. GM's restructuring announcement is being read as positive, but their leverage ratio says the opposite. They're buying time, not fixing the problem. The article on tech growth buries the M. The article on tech growth buries the most important number in paragraph 7. Semiconductor orders are up 31% quarter over quarter. The headline writer missed the actual story. Ray lowers the paper. He looks at this boy. Soaking apron, rubber-soled work shoes, notebook sticking out of his front pocket, with an expression that shifts, almost imperceptibly, from assessment to something closer to recognition. How old are you? 16. 17 in October. Where do you go to school? Denby High, when I'm not here. What do you read? Whatever I can find. I got a copy of The Intelligent Investor from the Goodwill on Mac for 50 cents last month. Before that, Liar's Poker. I've been reading the journal when customers leave copies at the bay. Give me a business idea, right now. Don't think. Just say the first one that comes. An app that maps which Detroit neighborhoods are going to gentrify 3 years before it happens, based on permit filings, coffee shop openings, and school rezoning data. You identify the properties before the money arrives. Ray, that's not a new idea. No, but nobody's running it for cities like Detroit, because everyone's already written Detroit off. The data is all public record, city planning office, school board minutes, county permit database. Nobody's aggregating it because nobody believes there's money here. I believe there is. And I believe the window for acting on it is about 3 years before anyone else sees what I'm seeing. Come in on Saturdays. I won't pay you anything for the first month. After that, if you're still showing up and I still think you belong there, we renegotiate. I still have the wash on Saturdays. Then come after. Yes, sir. Ray rolls up the window and pulls forward to the rinse bay. Marcus watches the Escalade go, the water beating perfectly off the surface he's just cleaned. He reaches into his apron and takes out the business card Ray pressed into his palm before the window went up. Cream stock, embossed Hartwell Capital, and below it a handwritten phone number in blue ink. N.T. Cole family apartment, above on time, coin laundry, 9:04 p.m. The apartment is on Gresham, second floor above the coin laundry, and on evenings when all the machines are running, the floor vibrates with a low mechanical hum that has become, over the 3 months they've lived here, the Cole family's version of white noise. It is small. 2 rooms and a kitchen and a bathroom with a shower that takes 4 minutes to get hot. Diane keeps it cleaner than it deserves. Dishes done immediately. Nothing left on the floor. A small square of silk flowers on the kitchen table because she decided early that small dignities matter. She is still in her diner uniform. Burgundy polo, black slacks, name tag that says Diane in white letters. When Marcus comes home, she is at the kitchen table, which serves as the desk, which serves as the everything, eating leftover chicken and sorting through a sheaf of papers that Marcus recognizes as the utility bills she is trying to figure out how to sequence. The sequence of which bills to pay and when, in what order, so that nothing gets cut off before the next paycheck arrives, is a kind of financial engineering that nobody writes case studies about, but that millions of American families practice with more sophistication than they are ever given credit for. Marcus sits down across from her and places the business card on the table between them, face up. She looks at it without touching it for a moment, the way she looks at things she is not sure of. Ray Hartwell, Hartwell Capital. He came through the wash this morning. We talked for about 10 minutes. He gave me that. A man you don't know gave you his card at a car wash. I went to the library on my lunch break. He's real, Mama. Hartwell Capital has been operating since 1991. He's raised over $200 million in venture funding for Michigan companies. He's on the boards of Children's Hospital of Michigan and the Detroit Institute of Arts. One SEC inquiry in 1998, dismissed. He's legitimate. Diane picks up the card and holds it under the kitchen light. turning it slowly, as though looking for something hidden in the stock or the ink. She has spent 20 years reading people across a diner counter, reading the difference between a good tipper and a bad one, between someone having a rough day and someone who is fundamentally unkind, between someone who is lost and someone who is dangerous. She has been wrong before. What does a man like that want with a 16-year-old car wash boy? I think he wants to find out if I'm more than that. And I think he already suspects I am. Diane. And what did you talk about? He read me the Wall Street Journal. I told him what was wrong with the headline. He asked me for a business idea, and I gave him one. He listened the way people listen when they're actually interested and not just waiting for you to stop talking. Diane is quiet. She looks at her son, at the particular quality of stillness in him that she has been watching develop since he was 8 years old, and started asking her why the generic cereal and the name brand cereal were different prices if they came from the same factory. She has always known he was built for something larger than East Detroit. She has always been quietly terrified of what that larger thing would cost him. Diane. You'll call him. You'll go in the daytime, not at night. You'll text me the address before you walk in the building. And Marcus. She reaches across the table and puts her hand over his. And she looks at him in the way mothers look at children when they are trying to give them something that cannot be wrapped. Whatever they offer you in those offices, don't be so hungry for it that you lose the thing that makes you you. The part of you that comes from this table and this neighborhood in your father's hands. That part is not for sale. You hear me? That part is never for sale, Marcus. Yes, ma'am. He picks up the card and goes to his room. Through the thin wall, Diane can hear him on the phone. His voice lower, more deliberate, older than 16, making the call with the same calm he shows at the car wash when a particularly difficult customer arrives. She sits at the table for a long time after, the utility bills untouched, listening to the machines below. The Penobscot building is 30 stories of limestone and granite built in 1928, when Detroit was the 4th largest city in America and had not yet learned that cities, like people, can bet on the wrong future. The lobby has 20-foot ceilings and marble floors that echo every footstep, giving the space a resonance that makes ordinary things feel significant. Marcus walks in wearing church slacks, a white button-down ironed twice that morning, and the dress shoes his father left in the closet that he polished with a cloth and a dab of Vaseline because polish was $4 he didn't have. Ray meets him in the reception area himself, which he does for almost no one. He leads Marcus back through the corridor lined with tombstones. The framed deal announcements that investment firms hang the way other offices hang diplomas. And Marcus reads each one as he passes, not visibly, not slowly, but systematically. Ray notices him doing it. Ray sits in one chair and gestures Marcus to the other without going behind the desk, which Marcus registers as a deliberate choice. No resume, no interview. I'm going to give you a problem and you're going to work through it out loud. Ready? Go ahead. You have $50,000. You're 22. You have no connections and no network. And Ray tells Marcus he'll have to leave Detroit completely if he wants to build something real. Marcus agrees. Chicago first, then New York. He wants to be tested. After Marcus leaves, Ray calls Grant Ellison, hinting that Marcus's rise may create an opportunity later when he's big enough to matter. Marcus launches Cole Capital with $180,000 of his own savings. His first investors are personal. His mother, teachers, a retired auto worker, Deja, and a few quiet believers. The first fund closes at $2.3 million. He invests in overlooked Midwest infrastructure and renewable energy plays. One early solar investment returns 470%. Returns: year 1, 31%. Year 2, 24%. Year 3, 29%. Word spreads. On CNBC, Marcus explains why. Institutional money forces average performance. His investors are teachers, nurses, and workers. Alignment matters more than scale. He announces the move to New York. In Manhattan, Grant Ellison watches the interview. He recognizes Marcus's trajectory and sees a future threat. He calls Ray. They agree. It's easier to manage someone before they become untouchable. Ray begins compiling everything he knows about Marcus. Ray tells Marcus New York 2021 coal capital now operates from 1 Vanderbilt. Marcus still arrives before dawn. The office is clean, focused, serious. The only personal photo is his mother at the Chicago opening. Deja walks in early with coffee and a serious look. Something is coming. Deja: the SEC called my personal cell at 8:30 Friday evening. I've been sitting on this since then because I needed to think through what it means before I told you. And I needed the weekend to do that thinking. Marcus sets his pen down. Marcus, tell me everything. Start from the beginning. Deja: they have a cooperating witness who has provided sworn testimony and a significant volume of supporting documentation alleging that Coal Capital executed 17 trades over the past 18 months, using material non-public information obtained through a network of corporate insiders. The trades were executed from a personal brokerage account registered in your name. All 17 were profitable. All 17 were executed in the 48 to 72-hour window immediately before major market-moving announcements. Earnings results, merger announcements, regulatory decisions. Never in my life traded from a personal account outside of the firm's disclosed personal trading policy. You have reviewed and signed every quarterly attestation for 6 years. You know that. Deja: I know that. The SEC does not know that yet. They're coming in Wednesday morning for a formal interview. I've already called Carver. Marcus: who is the witness? Deja slides a single page across the desk. Marcus picks it up, reads the name. There is a moment, perhaps 3 seconds, where something moves across his face. Not surprise, exactly. Something more specific than surprise. Ray Hartwell. Deja. He has provided 40 pages of supporting materials, trade confirmations, phone records, internal memoranda. The documentation is sophisticated. It's been built carefully and over time. Whoever constructed it knew exactly how this kind of case is built and built it accordingly. Ray built it. He has been building it for years, probably since before I left Detroit. Deja, that's where I landed too. And I think I need to show you my reasoning and you need to tell me where I'm wrong. I think Grant Ellison is behind the decision to use it. Ray is the construction. Ellison is the motive. Ray has been running something real, a real network. And when the SEC started getting close to it, he needed someone to redirect toward. A black man from Detroit who got too successful too fast. The story practically writes the press release for them. The silence in the room is the specific silence of 2 people who are not surprised by injustice, but are still, in the precise moment of its arrival, made quiet by it. Marcus moves fast. He orders a full forensic review, raw data only, no summaries. If Ray built a lie, there will be a flaw in the process. For 72 hours, Coal Capital becomes a war room. Lawyers, independent analysts, server logs, offshore entities, timestamp audits. Marcus doesn't study what the documents say. He studies how they were made. At 4:17 a.m., he finds it. One trade confirmation from Geneva is time-stamped before the funding wire even arrived. A 25-minute gap, a daylight-saving error. Mechanically impossible. Ray built the system in Eastern Time and forgot Geneva's summer UTC offset. The mistake repeats across multiple offshore entities. It's not one bad document. It's a signature. The fabricated trades unravel into a 12-year insider trading network. Ray Hartwell at the center, using offshore shells and elite access to generate over $300 million. When regulators got close, he needed a visible scapegoat. He chose Marcus. He miscalculated. Marcus presents the evidence to the SEC. Calm, prepared, transparent. 2 independent analyses. Clean documentation. No defensiveness. Agent Lena Torres sees it immediately. This isn't a defense. It's an exposure. 4 months later, Ray is arrested. Grant negotiates. The SEC publicly clears Marcus. Not one investor withdraws. Marcus reads the statement alone. Then he opens an old notebook. Deja's question from years ago. Why do you want money? His answer, to understand the system so completely that no one can use it against me. Marcus, it's done. They cleared it. It's done. Diane is quiet for a moment. When she speaks, her voice has the quality of a person who has been holding something very heavy for a very long time and has just been told they can put it down. Diane, I never doubted you for 1 second. Marcus, I know, Mama. Diane, your father would have been... Marcus, gently, I know he would have. He stays on the phone with her for 40 minutes. He doesn't look at his email. He doesn't check the markets. The conference room is full in the specific, quiet way of rooms where the people inside them understand the significance of where they are. This is not a celebratory atmosphere. Cole Capital does not do celebratory atmospheres, which is one of the dozens of ways it differs from the firms whose offices Marcus walked past on his first day in Chicago. It is instead the atmosphere of a group of people who have done serious work and are now, seriously, accounting for what that work has produced. Brooks, the financial advisor who has been with the firm since the Chicago WeWork days, stands at the whiteboard. He has written one number on the whiteboard in black marker. The number is very large. He has been staring at it for 3 minutes while the room settled. With the finalization of the infrastructure fund's third close, the crystallization of the Ellison Renewables stake following the acquisition last month, and the full subscription of the Coal Midwest Growth Fund, Coal Capital LLC's total assets under management stand at $1.4 billion. That represents a compound annual growth rate since inception of 31% net of fees. It makes Coal Capital the largest Black-owned independent investment fund in American history. And it makes you, Mr. Cole, at 32 years old, the youngest self-made billionaire of color in the history of this country. The room is quiet, not with awkwardness or uncertainty, but with the specific quality of quiet that arrives when something is landed that is real and large enough to require a moment before it can be processed. Marcus sits at the head of the table. He does not react immediately. He lets the number stand in the room for a moment, lets people process it, and then he catches Deja's eye across the table. She's looking at him the way she has looked at him since they were 12 years old, sharing terrible coffee at a Wayne State study table. The look that contains 20 years of knowing someone completely, of having told them hard truths they didn't want to hear and having them be right, of having bet on them before anyone else saw the bet. She raises an eyebrow. He gives the smallest possible nod, which in their private language means, I know. and you were right. She gives the smallest possible smile, which in their private language means, I know I was, and I'm glad. Marcus stands. The room goes quiet in the way rooms go quiet when the person who built the... Before we move into operations, and there's a lot to discuss, I want to say something. He looks around the room. Every person here has been with Coal Capital at least 4 years. They've sat through dislocations, the SEC investigation, the months when outcomes were uncertain. This isn't a staff. It's a build. The number on that board belongs to the people who gave us the money to generate it. A nurse, a firefighter, hundreds like them. They are the fund. That number is theirs before it is ours. And I need everyone in this room to hold that, not as marketing language, but as fact. Good. Let's talk about the second close. The room shifts. The work begins. Exterior. East Jefferson Avenue, Detroit. Late afternoon, he drives himself. Always has. I-94 East. Radio off. The skyline appears smaller than New York's, but clearer. Streets return in sequence. Storefronts that changed, storefronts that didn't. The pale Midwestern sky of early spring. Promise without spectacle. East Jefferson. The laundromat building. Denby's half-full lot. The library where he first read about Hartwell Capital. Neighborhoods his teenage app predicted. Some developed, some still waiting. Data had the direction right. Timing less so. Sparkle King Car Wash is still open. Fresh paint, letters upright, 4 bays. Devon Works Bay 2, 16, maybe 17. Soaked apron, long-handled brush moving in clean, overlapping circles. Focused, not performative, just present. Marcus watches before speaking. You're doing the circles right. Jerome showed me. He's been showing people that since before you were born. Devon glances at him, measuring. You know Jerome? I worked Bay 2, about your age. You from around here? 3 blocks that way, Gratiot, above a laundromat. What did you do after? Worked for a man downtown, learned everything, left. Built my own firm. What kind? Investment. Devon keeps scrubbing. Is it good money? It's good work. Money follows good work. Tips here are terrible. I track tip percentages by card type in a notebook, Marcus says. Late model sedans driven by women tipped best. Sports cars tipped worst. Devon stops. You tracked it? The tips were small. The habit wasn't. You learn to read small data so you're ready for large data. Devon studies him now. The quiet clothes, the rental parked down the block, the way he watches. Why are you here? I come back when I need to remember what things cost. What things? Everything. Marcus takes out one of the 2 business cards he carries. When you're ready to learn what they don't teach at Denby, not instead of school on top of it, call. Ask for Marcus. Devon turns the card over. On the back, handwritten, the information is out there. Start paying attention. He reads it twice. Marcus is already walking away, unhurried, precise. Devon watches him drive off into the amber Detroit light. He stands there a moment longer. Then he tucks the card into his apron pocket, fills his bucket, back to work. But now his eyes are different. They're watching, cataloging, paying attention. The light shifts. The afternoon deepens. Detroit continues its long, complicated story. Subscribe for updates and future releases.